Well, there were sharp intakes of breath all around the studio there. Paxman certainly had the gloves off.
He did, and what a great format this was. That's what struck me. It gives plenty of time to ask questions and give answers. I think there's a great fear that the debate, especially the seven-way debate the DUP was talking about, would just be a rotation of sound bites.
Yeah, it was really interesting because they were being asked all sorts of questions that they couldn't possibly really have predicted, whether it was food banks, zero hours contracts. Miliband was asked again, you know, about his brother. That's the one question you think people might avoid asking.
What strikes me about all of this stuff is it's all really small beer stuff. There's no big prizes to play for, and that's partly because whether you're in opposition or in government, there's no money to splash out on anything big. There's no change of direction. Cameron, looking back on his thing, the whole thing about big society, there was no money to do the things that would have made a big society initiative work.
It's small beer stuff, but it helps fill out the big picture, doesn't it? In terms of their leadership qualifications.
Well, I think that apparently on Twitter the verdict is that Miliband did slightly better than Cameron. I think he's benefited from low expectations, and that's an issue that Cameron might want to consider, or a future PM would want to consider about doing this again. This format is going to make someone who's the Prime Minister look like a disappointment, inevitably.
OK, all right, let's just take a final look at our thought-provoking interview with the Taoiseach Enda Kenny tonight. What did you make of what he had to say?
Well, I thought, from a Northern Ireland point of view, I thought some of the jibes that he had at Sinn Féin were interesting. It was all around, I mean, he suggested, in fact, actually had to be asked to clarify this by yourself. He mentioned about rolling back the gains that have been made through incompetence and false economics. So clear forms of messaging.
But what he's really worried about is the UK leaving Europe, far more than he's worried about us in any way.
Yeah, it's interesting because he wanted to talk about that in the interview, obviously, tonight, and I think it's a big part of the speech that he's been giving to the CBI in Belfast tonight. There's a danger, isn't there, in that he is interfering in the internal affairs of Britain, some people might say.
Well, there would be if it was an issue of interest in Britain and in Northern Ireland, the way that it seems to be in the Republic. It's fascinating that they are really, really fascinated and scared by this to an extent that we're not at all.
But it is such a controversial issue here. I mean, you know, the First Minister, Deputy First Minister take very different views on it, for example.
On the European Union? Yeah, no, absolutely. But the consequences are almost catastrophic. He kept talking the whole way through all of that about the all-island economy. What becomes of the all-island economy when not only are we in different currency zones, but we're in different trade zones?
Because he's quite right about the corporation tax. A prosperous Northern Ireland is good for the Republic as well,
yes.
But only if there's no massive tariff barrier between us.
What about the issue, just briefly, of welfare reform? Is the Irish government a player in trying to resolve that issue or not?
Well, he seemed to be keeping a very, very careful distance
really
from all of that.
About it, did he?
No, and I think that's partly about absenting themselves from that space, because the blame game, as we know, is one of Northern Ireland's favourite political pastimes. And anybody who gets anywhere close to the blame zone is going to get covered in all kinds of...
He also thinks there's going to be a deal, and perhaps he's going to pile in on Sinn Féin after that deal is done.
And a quick final word about gay marriage. He's very clear about that.
Oh, and right across the board, he said every single political party in the Dáil is behind marriage equality, but his government's not had a very good record in getting referenda across the line.
Okay.